Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Junie B. Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine. I was watching the last video that I uploaded, and it looked like Grandma Kate had a floating head because I'm sitting in a different place wearing a black turtleneck and a dark rocking chair. So hopefully that didn't freak you out too much. It was a little funny for me to see that since it's winter time, we have to be inside. It's especially cold this week. So it's so nice to cozy up with a good book and a cup of something hot on a cold winter's day. So let's go ahead and continue Junie B. Jones and the Mushy Gushy Valentine with chapter 4, The Disagreement. On Monday, I skipped into room 9, very thrilled. Mrs., look, I said, I have all my Valentines for the big giant Valentimes box. They are right here in this paper bag I am carrying. I runned and showed her inside it. See them, Missus? I matched every single card to the exact person who will get it, I explained. Mrs. patted my head and she said the word, good job. Then she took me by my hand and she showed me how to put my Valentines through the mail slot in the box. I do believe that you are the very first person in room 9 to bring in her cards, said Mrs. I did a gasp at that exciting news. First, Mrs. I asked, I am really first. After that, I sprang way high in the air and I ran around and around in a circle. I've never been first at anything before, I said real squealy. Never, ever, never. And so what is my prize for winning? I closed my eyes and held out my hands. Put it right in my hands, okay, missus? I won't even peek, I promise. After that, I stood there real patient, but nothing got put in my hands. Finally, Mrs. bended down next to my ear. Junie B, honey, I'm really sorry, but there is no prize, she said. We weren't actually having a contest. I opened my eyes. We weren't? I asked. Mrs. shook her head no. My shoulders slumped a teeny bit. So then a prize would be out of the question, probably, I said. Mrs. shrugged. I'm afraid I didn't buy any prizes, she said. After that, I rocked back and forth on my feet, and I thought and I thought. Would you have a mint in your drawer, maybe, or some stickers? I asked. Mrs. smiled, and then she took me to her desk, and we looked in her drawer. How about a broken piece of chalk and a yellow rubber band? She asked. Sold, I said. After that, Mrs. told me congratulations, and she gave me my prizes. Do you think those were prizes? I think Mrs. just had that in her desk. I don't think those were prizes at all. I quick skipped to my table and showed them to Lucille. She wrinkled up her nose. Yuck! Have you been going through the trash can again? She asked. No, silly, these are my prizes, I said. I got prizes for bringing in my Valentines first. Lucille smoothed her dress. Yes, well, I would have brought my cards in today too, but they're not back from the printers yet, she told me. What? I said. What printers? The printers where they print my name on the card, she said. Wait till you see them, Junie B. Every card will have love and kisses from Lucille at the bottom of it. She hugged herself. They are so beautiful, she said. Each Valentine has a cherry lollipop on the front, and the lollipop is in the shape of Cupid. She sighed, very dreamy. Cupid is the symbol of Valentine's Day, you know, she said. You know what Cupid is? It's like a little baby that has a has a sash over its body, and it's shooting a little arrow out of a bow. That's Cupid. I guess if you get shot by Cupid's arrow, you fall in love with the next person you see. I don't know. I think that's just a story. Of course I know, I said back. Plus also skunks and shoes are symbols of Valentine's Times Day too, because that's what are on my cards. After that, me and Lucille did our work until recess. And then both of us went outside to play with our other bestest friend, Grace. Only too bad for us, because Lucille kept on bragging about Valentine's Day. And that's how come she and that Grace got into a disagreement. I'm going to get more Valentines than anyone, bragged Lucille. That's because the boys love me better than any other girl, and they will bring me lots and lots of cards. Grace looked curious at her. But Miss said to only bring one card for every boy and girl, remember? Not lots and lots. Lucille flounced her flouncy dress. Silly Grace, look at me, for goodness sakes. I am precious. And when you're precious, boys automatically bring you lots of Valentines. They can't help themselves. She twirled all around. I am the cutest girl in room 9, Grace, she said. I am way cuter than anyone else. She giggled and pointed. Even you. After that, Grace did a little frown, because that hurt her feelings, I think. I tapped on Lucille. Yeah, only Grace is the nicest, Lucille, I said, and so maybe the boys will bring her lots of Valentines too. Lucille did a huffy breath at me. But I'm richer than Grace, Junie B, so that is another reason to bring me more, she said. We thought for a minute. Yes, but Grace can run faster, I said. So, Lucille, my hair is longer, and the boys like long hair. I looked at Grace's head. But Grace's hair is springier and curlier, I said, and that is cute as a button. Lucille made squinty eyes at me. But I have a big screen TV and a pool, she said real loud. That's how come me and that Grace leaned our heads together, and we got into a huggle. Finally, I looked up at Lucille. Okay, here's what we came up with, I said. Grace can whistle through her teeth, plus she can wiggle her ears, and also she can dribble a basketball through her legs while she's running. Great, Lucille jumped up and down. But I have a pony, she hollered. I patted her, very sympathetic. Sorry, I said real soft. Grace has a snake. And I'm going to go back. Here's a page with Lucille and Junie B fighting. Remember when I read to you about, I think it was maybe the Christmas book, the Junie B Christmas book about Lucille and how she thinks she's better than everybody else because she's rich? I don't know if I mentioned it in that story, but, I don't think Lucille was born thinking like that. I think she learned that from somebody. Who do you think she learned that from? Mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, just like everybody else. We all learn how to be by the people that raise us. Papa always says your actions define you. And what that means is as you behave, that's who you are. So I used to tell my kids, people may not always believe what you say, but they'll believe what you do. And I believe that Lucille is acting kind of spoiled. You think she's spoiled? Papa says spoiled is how you behave. Because he spoiled me with some really nice Christmas presents. And I said that. He gave me some nice Christmas presents. And he said, no. He said, Kate, you're not spoiled because you don't act like a brat. I think Lucille kind of acts like a brat. After that, Lucille's shoulders got very sagging and she sat down in the grass because boys love snakes better than anything. Pretty soon that Grace sat down next to Lucille and she put her arm around Lucille's shoulders and she patted her. Because guess what else? Grace is a good sport. I remember when I read these books to my first graders, I just loved Grace. She's such a sweet girl. So we're going to read chapter 5 called Valentine's Time. Valentine's Day came on Friday. Guess what? My grandma, Helen Miller, bought me a special Valentine's outfit, and it matched my heart antennas very perfect. That day at school, I skipped all around room 9 because I was a treat for the eyes, I tell you. Finally, I sat in my seat, and Mrs. took attendance. And guess what? Nobody was absent. Because who wants to miss a party? That's why. After attendance, Mrs. put on a special Valentine's apron. It had a big heart pocket on the front. Then Mrs. filled the heart pocket with Valentine's cards from the box, and she delivered them to all of the children. And wait till you hear this. The very first Valentine was delivered to me, to Junie B. Jones, and it said my name right on the envelope. Yahoo! I said, real thrilled. I am first again, Mrs. Yahoo, Yahoo! After that, Mrs. kept on delivering cards until the whole Valentine's box was empty. and all of us got to open up our cards, and it was as fun as a birthday party, I tell you. After Lucille finished opening her Valentines, she called Grace to our table. Come here, Grace, come here and bring your Valentines, and then you and I can count our cards, and we will see who got the most from the boys, she said. Grace came over. She smiled kind of nervous. Well, okay, here goes, she said. Then Grace put all of her Valentines in front of me and Lucille, and she counted them one by one. Pretty soon, Grace wasn't smiling anymore. Rats, I knew I shouldn't have come over here, she said. Lucille grinned a teeny bit. Why, Grace, she asked. How many did you get? You have to tell me, Grace, how many? Grace did a big sigh. Oh, I only got 17, she said. I only got one card from every person, and that's all, no extras. Lucille's face lighted up very bright. She flipped her hair all around in the air. And there's a picture of her. Poor little Grace. I wonder how this is going to turn out, because Mrs. said only bring 17. So how many do you think Lucille has? I bet she has 17 too. Let's find out. Gee, I am sorry to hear that, Grace, she said. Well, I suppose I should count mine now. After that, Lucille counted her cards in front of me and Grace. She counted them right out loud. 13, 14, 15, 16. And then all of a sudden, Lucille stopped counting because there was only one more Valentine left in her pile, and that's why. She quick stood up at her seat and looked all around herself. First, she looked under the table, and then she looked on top of her chair and all over the floor. She looked in her pockets and her backpack and her purse. Finally, she sat back down, real upset. I don't understand, she said. How could this be happening? Every day my Nana tells me how special I am. But 17 Valentines isn't special at all. 17 Valentines is just the same as everybody else. I did a sigh. Nanas, I said, I can't believe a word they say. It's like I told you. Lucille believed what her Nana, that's her grandma, what her grandma told her. And her grandma told her she was special. But I wonder if Lucille's grandma told her she was more special than other kids. I don't know. I don't know. I think all my grandchildren are special, like Lily and Eli and Kobe and Xavier and Penny and Faith and my friends Avy and Sammy, and all my friends' kids are all very special, but they're special for being who they are. Let's see what Grace says. Grace looked cheerier. Count yours, Junie B. Count your Valentines and see if you got 17 like Lucille and me. Of course I got 17, silly Grace, I told her. Everybody in this whole room got 17. It was the rule, remember? After that, I put all my cards in a pile and I counted them out loud, just like Lucille. I did a frown. And then I counted them again. And even again. Because guess what? Somebody broke the rule, that's what. I springed up on my chair. All right, people who didn't send me a Valentine, and do not try to deny it, because I've only got 16 cards in my pile. I pointed my finger at Meanie Jim. It was you, mister. Huh? Are you the meanie head who didn't send me one? I looked all around. Or maybe it was you, Polly Allen Puffer. Or you, Charlotte, who I don't actually know your last name. Or you, Roger, or... Just then, Mrs. swooped me off my chair. And there's Junie B. having a temper tantrum. Here comes Mrs. What if Mrs. is going to have to take an aspirin again because she's got a headache? Do not stand on your chair, Junie B, she said. Please don't fight about Valentines. If someone didn't send you a card, it was just a mistake. No one would do something like that on purpose, I'm sure of it. After that, I sat back down in my seat and I looked at that woman very curious, because Mrs. is a nice teacher, but sometimes she doesn't understand children at all. I'm going to read chapter 6, and this will be our last chapter in this video. It's called Bingo. I put my head down on my table because I needed to figure out who didn't send me a Valentine, that's why. I thinked and I thinked real hard, and then all of a sudden I springed up. Lucille, I thinked of a plan. I thinked of how to find that guy. All I have to do is see the names of who signed my Valentines, because whoever is the missing person is who didn't send me one. Lucille looked admiring at me. That is very smart of you, Junie B, she said. You should be on cops. I know it, I said back. My head is as sharp as a tack. After that, I got all my Valentines in a pile, and me and Lucille looked at the people who signed them. We kept track of their names very good. Only too bad for me, because 7 of my Valentines weren't even signed. Darn it, I said. Now what am I supposed to do? Just then I saw Mrs. hurrying to my table again. Junie B, I have some good news for you, she said. Guess what I found in the bottom of the Valentine's box? I sat up real quick, because guessing games are my favorite, of course. A meatball, I said. Mrs. did a frown. No, Junie B, why would there be a meatball in the box? Think about it. What have people been putting in the Valentine's box all week? Valentine's cards, I said real smart. Right, she said. Now, how many Valentines did you get today? 16, I told her. Yes, she said. You were missing one, weren't you? And so what do you think I found in the bottom of the box just now? This time I thought my hardest. A meatball, I said. Mrs. rolled her eyes up at the ceiling. I looked up there too, but I didn't see anything. Finally, Mrs. pulled a giant envelope from behind her back. No, this, Junie B, she said. This is what I found in the bottom of the box. I found this big envelope, and it's addressed to you. My mouth came open, very shocked. Then all of a sudden, I clapped my hands, very thrilled. Hey, wait a second here. Maybe this could be my missing Valentine. Mrs. looked funny at me. Bingo, she said, kind of soft. Yes, I shouted, bingo, bingo, bingo. After that, I jumped up and down, and I danced all around, because nobody broke the rule after all, and this was very nice of them. After I finished dancing, I opened up the envelope. It was the beautifulest card I ever saw. It had lace and hearts all over the front, and a purple ribbon was weaved all around the edge. Look, Mrs., look, it's a mushy, gushy kind, I said. I always wanted one of these. Who sent it, huh? Read me their name, okay? Who sent it? Who sent it? Mrs. opened up the card and looked at the name. And then she laughed out loud. Well, it looks like you've got yourself a fan, she said. She ruffled my hair. This card is signed, from your secret admirer. I raised up my eyebrows. Huh? What? Who? Mrs. smiled. A secret admirer is someone who likes you very much, but he's too shy to tell you, she explained. I guess your Valentine's Day turned out pretty good after all. And here's a picture of Junie B with Mrs. and her. Have you ever had a secret admirer? I did once when I was a teacher. Someone gave me a note. They didn't sign their name. It was probably from a little kid, I think. But it was very sweet. Yes, my Valentine's Day turned out almost perfect, I said. Now all I have to do is figure out who my secret admirer is, and I will be in business. After that, I put my head on my table and I closed my eyes because I needed to think of another plan, of course. And we're going to stop right there. In our next video, I'm going to finish this book with chapters 7 and 8. So if you tune into the next video, you'll find out who gave Junie B that mushy, gushy Valentine. So until I see you next time, have a great day.